Happy October! Every year, me and a group of family and friends watch 31 horror movies in 31 days. Each night, a game of trivia is played, and the winner of that night picks the movie. Each movie is graded on its spookiness, quality of its story, and overall enjoyment out of 10. All stats are recorded, numbers are crunched, and at the end of the month, two winners are declared. One for who picked the best scoring movie, and the other for who won the most amount of times. And last year, I won both prizes. All that is to say, I feel pretty qualified to talk about horror movies, which is why I wanted to give you three underrated horror movies that I think are worth your time. Now, as a quick disclaimer, I think it is very hard to recommend scary movies to people because people naturally cover a wide range when it comes to their enjoyment of horror. Some people will never watch a scary movie, some people will watch one or two in October, and then there are nuts like me that watch any horror movie they can get their hands on. I feel like this video is aimed at the second group because people that don't watch horror won't watch this, and people that love horror have probably already seen these movies multiple times and will make fun of me for calling them underrated. These are going to be in order from least scary to scariest, at least in my opinion. I feel like none of them are really that scary, but once again, that could just be me and it being desensitized. Tigers Are Not Afraid is a Mexican horror fantasy film directed by Isa Lopez. The story follows a group of orphan children in Mexico City living in the midst of drug cartel violence. The protagonist, Estrella, is a young girl whose mother goes missing, leaving her alone. She's given three magical wishes that come with unintended consequences. Estrella joins a gang of other street children led by Shine, who is on the run from a dangerous cartel. As the children navigate the brutal reality of their environment, Estrella's wishes begin to blur the line between fantasy and reality. Haunted by vengeful ghosts and pursued by ruthless criminals, the kids must confront both supernatural and human threats while holding on to the hope that they can find a way out. I believe Tigers Are Not Afraid uniquely blends elements of horror, fantasy, and social commentary, creating a deeply emotional and thought provoking experience. It uses the backdrop of real world violence to explore psychological trauma of its young characters. The film's supernatural elements are not just for scares, they serve as metaphors for grief, fear, and the resilience of children caught in unimaginably harsh circumstances. The performances by the child actors are raw and authentic, making the narrative even more compelling. I feel like any movie where the majority of the cast are child actors can be difficult to pull off, but this is certainly one that, in my eyes, they absolutely nail, and they all give very powerful performances. Despite the critical acclaim and praise from filmmakers like Guillermo del Toro and Stephen King, the movie had a limited distribution, and as a result, few people actually saw it, and it flew under the radar. Its unique blend of magical realism and horror, combined with its poignant social messages, set it apart and the standout in the genre, and I think it deserves more attention. Creep is a found footage masterclass, a psychological horror film directed by Patrick Brice, starring Mark Duplass. The movie follows Aaron, a videographer who answers a Craigslist ad from Joseph, a seemingly eccentric man, for a day. Joseph claims to have a terminal illness and wants to record a video diary for his unborn son. As Aaron begins filming, Joseph's behavior becomes increasingly unsettling, ranging from awkward and over-friendly to bizarre and menacing. Like most suspense movies, it is very hard to talk about any more than that without giving away too much, but I promise it's more intriguing than that sounds. I think Creep masterfully uses minimalism and tension to create a deeply unsettling experience. The film's success hinges on the unnerving performance of Mark Duplass, who brings Joseph to life without an unsettling mix of charm and menace. The movie's found footage style makes the audience feel trapped in an intimate, claustrophobic dynamic between these two characters, enhancing the suspense. I believe this is one of the best uses of the found footage style, as it makes it feel like it genuinely is something anyone with a camera could have shot. Creep excels at creating a sense of dread through awkward social interactions, subtle hints, and an ever present sense of danger that grows as the story unfolds. Its ability to maintain tension and unpredictability with such a simple premise is impressive, making it one of the best of the found footage genre, in my opinion. Creep is definitely the most popular of these three movies I'm going to talk about, having a sequel that is also very good, and a new show made by the same people coming out later this year. So calling it underrated is probably a stretch, but I think it's mainly still horror fans that have heard of this, and I think it deserves to be more of a staple in the horror genre and deserves to have mainstream appeal. My initial review when I saw this movie was like a cross between Blair Witch and National Treasure. And honestly, I stand by that. A slightly longer pitch would be a found footage horror movie set in the Paris catacombs, loosely based on Dante's Inferno, which again, I feel like is a pretty strong and interesting pitch that I stand by. As Above, So Below is a found footage horror movie directed by John Eric Dowell. The movie follows Scarlett, an adventurous archaeologist obsessed with finding the Philosopher's Stone. Scarlett, along with her team, venture into the catacombs beneath Paris in search of the stone. It's worth noting that they really did film in the real catacombs in Paris, which is already one of the spookiest and creepiest places in the world and was dying to be the set of a horror movie. As they descend deeper into the catacombs, the tunnels become increasingly claustrophobic and surreal, with the group encountering eerie symbols, hidden passageways, and supernatural manifestations tied to their personal traumas and sins. As they venture further, the line between reality and their hellish visions blur, forcing them to confront their darkest fears in a nightmarish journey where the only way out is to keep going. As Above, So Below combines elements of psychological horror, adventure, and mythology, creating a unique and deeply unsettling experience. The film stands out for being it's really set in the real life catacombs of Paris and really shot there, which adds a layer of authenticity and claustrophobia rarely seen in horror. The narrative is rich with symbolism, drawing on themes from Dante's Inferno and alchemy lore, which mixes real people and places with legends. The film's atmosphere is relentlessly tense, and its pacing keeps the viewer on edge as the character's ascent mirrors their psychological unraveling. Although it received mixed reviews upon its release, it's one of my favorites of the found footage subgenre. As Above, So Below deserves more recognition for its creative premise, eerie visuals, and ability to weave history and legend into a horror film that feels both grand and intimately terrifying. Its blend of real-world history and supernatural horror make it a standout in the genre for me, and has since developed a dedicated cult following. So those are three movies I think are definitely worth your time this October. If you have any other horror movies you want to recommend, please leave them in the comments. Also, what's the scariest movie you've ever watched? Because I'm trying to win again and will take any and all suggestions. If you want to follow along with my thoughts for the next 31 horror movies I'm going to be watching, you should follow me on Letterboxd. And look forward to a recap video at the end of the month. Happy Spooktober, everybody. Purple Hippo Cinema. Purple